I'm Chris Erdmann, and this is Made of More, the show where we go beyond business to uncover real stories that shape entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, we explore the pivotal moments, the adversity faced, the risks taken, and the resilience found along the way. This isn't just about what people have built, it's about who they've become. If you're ready for inspiration, practical insights, and stories that remind you that you too are made of more, you're in the right place. Welcome to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann. Today I'm sitting with a good friend of mine, Chris Wolf, an entrepreneur in the greater Seattle area. Not only does he own a roofing company that does all types of construction, but he's a family member, father, a husband. His kids and his personal journey helped him create this vision to teach kids at a different level. And we're going to get into a story of entrepreneurialism and the school Pathfinders, which is at Acton Academy. Is that correct?
You got it. Yes,
All
sir.
Right. Welcome to the show, Chris.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you really have an interesting story behind you. You are a great speaker, a great business person, well respected in our business community. What was the start of your entrepreneurial journey? What was the spark?
Oh, man. How many sparks, right?
Yeah, the first spark.
Well, the funny part is, if you go back far enough, I thought people who were in business were losers when I was a kid.
Oh, why is that?
I had a very filtered idea of what business was, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've seen, movies and television, guys in suits,
Corporate America.
Corporate kind of stuff, or small business owners like struggling to make it, right? Like
Sure.
your aunt who runs the bakery down the road and she's trying to pay the bill. Like in pop culture, there's not a lot of small business owners in powerful roles, right?
Not back in the day.
Not then. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot more now, but like growing up, I just thought they were losers.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're going to be in business, you're going to be a loser. And I went off into college and people get their majors and like, why would you study business?
Yeah.
There I am studying political science, which is completely useless in modern society. It was interesting, but
I'm sure.
so there was a certain like judgment, right? But now that I am an entrepreneur and I do run my own businesses, looking back on it, it was always like a spark of mine to do something a little bit different.
Sure. You were being told what an entrepreneur was back in the day, and it was this vision that was probably pretty false. I mean, true to some extent, but you didn't see both sides of it because you weren't exposed to it.
Yeah, and I mean, when we can get into the whole like education system and like what's presented as what's right and what's wrong and what you have to do, what you're supposed to do, and I just never even considered the fact that because I wanted to do things differently, that might actually be an advantage.
Yeah.
Like growing up, you feel a little weird, right? Like, everyone's supposed to do this or everyone's doing this, but I kind of want to go this direction, or I have this other idea, or I want to do that thing, or I don't fit in because XYZ.
Sure.
And you feel like there's something wrong with you, right?
Yeah, because you were going against popular beliefs, right?
Exactly. Or like doing what you're told. There's so much in society and in education about do what you're told. This is what you're supposed to do. Learn to play the game. Do what you have to do, right?
Yeah.
And so much of entrepreneurship is learning to play your own game, right?
Yeah.
Or changing the rules, or saying, I don't want to just go do X, Y, Z that everyone else is doing. I want to do this thing that I'm passionate about, and I think I can do better than these other people are doing, or, I can make more money doing this.
Yeah.
And growing up, that's an attitude that is stamped out.
Right. Yeah. You were programmed to think a different way.
Right. But growing up, I didn't connect that with the possibility of being like a successful entrepreneur.
So you and I have had a lot of conversations, like kind of where it started and stopped. And you were a brilliant kid. You were smart. You kind of forged your own way. Many times you didn't have to study. You got good grades.
Well, that was the weird thing, right? Yeah. So for me, it didn't make sense why I didn't fit in, because I was so good at all the things they wanted me to do. Like I could do all the school stuff. I get great grades and I'd be the first one done and all this stuff. And I could play the sports. And so in some ways you would think I was like the perfect child, following the path, go to school, go to college, get a job, get married, buy a house.
Yeah, because you're always succeeding every day in school.
But at some point it really started to feel really hollow for me. And I'm like, why am I doing this? And I started to question. And when you start to question the system, then they really don't like you.
How old were you when you started feeling that hollow feeling?
I could tell you, I can't tell you the thoughts, but I can tell you the mark that I delineate in my mind was 7th grade.
Okay.
7th grade was the last time I got straight A's,
Sure.
because 7th grade was the last time I cared enough to get straight A's.
All right.
And then from 8th grade onward, I started questioning more and more, like, why am I doing this? Why do I have to do this? What is this? Is this worth my time?
You didn't see the value at the end.
And when a child starts doing that, most adults, their reaction is, you're being disobedient, you're being rebellious, sit down, shut up, do what you're supposed to do.
Sure.
Cut that out.
Yeah. So what happened next?
Well, so then I'm in the midst of all this turmoil, right? And then my mom had this crazy idea to move from Boston to Olympia, Washington.
Okay. What a drastic move.
Right. Like, even if everything had been hunky-dory, that would have been really drastic for me.
I love Boston, by the way.
It's a great spot.
Yeah.
You know, now that I've lived here long enough, I don't think I could go back. But I still root for my sports teams.
Sure.
Tom Brady, greatest of all time. Thank
There
you
you
very
go.
much.
I won't hold it against you.
Oh, yeah, here in Seattle, we got the Seahawks. Yeah, yeah.
So you made it from Boston to Olympia.
Well, I was forced to. I was between sophomore and junior year of high school. And I was already dealing with all these crazy, complex, struggling emotions, you know, with school and everything and this and that. And then we moved across country. Totally removed all my social support, all my friends.
Culture shock.
Culture shock, and then some, the whole thing. Didn't handle it very well. Then my behavior just like took a nosedive. You know, I'm 16, I'm petulant, I think I know everything, I'm mad, right? I think I know better than everybody.
Of course you do, you're 16.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm all mad about being moved and this and that. So my behavior gets so bad that my parents finally like, what do you want? Do you want to just like drop out of school? And I was like, yeah, I do.
Was that a rhetorical question or?
I think, yeah, my mom was like at the end of her rope, like, and she said it like maybe offhand, but I seized on it. I was like, oh, that's an option? Yeah. Get me out of here. I'm so mad. So then my whole big plan was to drop out of high school. Did all the GED tests in one day, aced them all. And then I was going to work full time until I was 18. And I moved back to Massachusetts. And then I applied to college and I got into college and I went to college with the rest of my high school graduating class.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, it was a little deviation from the path, but here I am getting back on the path. You're supposed to be on the path, right? You're supposed to do what you're told. You're supposed to go to college. You're supposed to get a degree, right?
Follow the program.
Follow the program, bro. Get with the program. And but then after a year and a half, I ended up dropping out of college.
All right. What happened?
Well, I mean, spiritually, in a way that I can't totally prove with facts, it wasn't for me. I kind of
Sure. You didn't feel connected.
Yeah, the world and the universe conspired in such a way, or you could say God, if that's your belief, conspired in such a way to like shift me out of there. You know, I was learning a lot about myself, but I wasn't there to learn school stuff. So the big recession happens, credit dries up, you know, you can't get loans to keep going, the whole thing, right? Like my grades were fine enough, but like it wasn't the right place for me. Right?
Sure.
So then I dropped out of college.
So what was on your mind? You knew you didn't want to be there. You dropped out of college, but you had to have something else on your mind that was better.
Well, I didn't. That's the problem. I just knew that what I was doing wasn't working.
Okay.
Because I was scoring outrageously on all these tests and I could do all the work, but like the path wasn't working for me. Like I was trying to square in my mind, like how could I be good at things, but not be good at like going where I'm supposed to go in this prescribed method, right?
That's a pretty bold move at that age to just like quit something that you're really good at or that you're scoring well at and you just quit it cold turkey without a plan.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds more badass probably in retrospect.
Yeah.
So before we go any further, I promised you that I wanted to hear about your story too, right?
Sure.
So what was your education story growing up?
Oh, my education story. I just went to school just like anybody else going through public school. I never felt like I totally fit in, but there's been a few classes looking back that I had a really great experience. I felt disconnected. You know, I didn't see the point many of the years, but there's a fourth grade teacher, Mr. Sondell. Like he just totally turned my school experience around where he just started making things fun. And he kind of set some guidelines of what his expectations were for the class. And meaning he set up these math problems, math sheets, auctions opportunities where you could earn this Monopoly fake money and you could earn it and spend it every month because he'd put an auction together. And I went from underperforming to going to a level doing 10th and 11th grade math all in my fourth grade year. And that's at that point I realized like something's been going on that's really wrong with the school system and that hopefully I would get an experience like this again. And it wasn't till maybe the 7th and 8th grade till I ran into another teacher. His name was Mr. Pugh, and he wasn't as funny, but he was pretty cool, and he did make school fun again and really listened to his students and try to work with them and inspire them in the way that the kids were. That was my experience, and I started excelling again, even again in the 7th and 8th grade. I found that to be a pretty amazing experience. But
What was it like in between that, though?
Oh, it was kind of like you were part of this program where they weren't really listening to you, and you were just supposed to do as you're told, supposed to sit at this desk and just do this work, and you're not sure why you're doing it.
Right. So like every now and then you get lucky with an amazing teacher, but most of the time you're like, why? And I guess my gift and my curse was that I couldn't just grin and bear it, you know? Like, I think there's something to be said for people who say, hey, you know what? It sucked, and I don't know why we had to do it, but I kept my head down and I grinded and I got my high school diploma.
Yeah.
And there's power in that, you know? Like, sometimes that's life, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes people say, well, that's the value of going to public high school is that you learn how to, you know, work. You learn what life is like. You have to do stuff you don't like to do. But, like, how much more amazing and powerful and helpful would it be if all your school was like those years where you were inspired and you were performing above your level and you wanted to be there?
Or I feel like where a teacher's able to connect to the gifts that you may already have, they can find certain strengths inside of you. That sounds like a little bit about what you were looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I can say that in retrospect, right? And in the moment when you're on this like journey and times are dark, you know, you just feel like a failure. You feel like things are cloudy. You don't know where to go. You don't know what the next move is. Almost like a little bit of disbelief of like, how did I end up here? You know, like I was growing up, I was young and smart and precocious, and I was on the path and I was going to go to a good school and all this stuff. And then I dropped out of high school and it was like, oh no, you know, bro, like other people's parents are all worried about me and stuff.
Yeah.
And then like it's like a roller coaster. Oh, no, I'm back on the path. I'm going to college. Oh, I'm off the path again.
It's a little bit of a roller coaster for your loved ones to be a part of this.
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm a parent, like, oh, my poor parents.
Yeah, I can
know that
imagine.
feeling.
You know, my parents were on a pretty good roller coaster too. Like I took a deviation from the route. I had a kid at 16 with my girlfriend. It was a bit of a roller coaster. Luckily, the parents all came together and helped us make sure that we did get through school. But I ended up leaving the high school a little bit early and taking college classes instead. And that helped me get through it a little faster and get out of the normal system, which I don't think it was much more enjoyable going that route, but it was a little better.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. You went to Running Start? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it was a program basically like Running Start.
So when I moved here, I went between sophomore and junior year, which is usually when you like register for Running Start, right? We just moved here, and in Massachusetts, they didn't have anything like Running Start. When I moved here, I'm all angry and pissed off and 16, and I had no idea what Running Start even was. And because I was so angry and pissed off and like closed to possibilities, you know, I just burned the bridge of high school and dropped out and made my own path.
Sure.
In retrospect, if I had known about Running Start, would that have changed my, you know, maybe like, I like to think so, but also when I look back, I'm not proud of it, and I can justify and say, oh, you know, I was 16 and da-da-da-da-da, like, you know. Or maybe I was working on like some like subconscious impulse that my anger could access that my peaceful mind couldn't. But that anger like clouded my judgment in some ways.
Sure.
But also it was almost like a more true feeling of what I actually felt like, no, screw, this isn't working for me and my time's better spent somewhere else.
Yeah.
Which is like a really precocious thing for a child to say. But now that I've experienced it and I see a lot more about the bigger picture of education, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Children should be able to say that.
Yeah, they should be able to speak their mind and a bit more and
have more choice.
Yeah, and that's kind of that's what you guys are providing.
Oh, yeah, at Pathfinders? Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow, that's a really interesting kind of journey that you're sharing with me. That's being pretty vulnerable. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing secret in it, right?
Yeah. So you dropped out of college.
Oh, yeah, so there's an in-between time, right? So this is where I got lucky. So I dropped out of college, and then my big plan was to join the military, and you know, did the ASVAB test, scored 90th percentile. They're all, oh, come, you know, go do this, do that. Blah, blah, blah. Ultimately, that didn't work out, which was for the better, because as you can probably tell, I'm not the take orders and do what I'm told type, and so the military was.
Yeah, you kind of want to do what you want to do.
I do what I want to do. What I want to do, yeah. And the military is a poor solution for a young man trying to find what.
You're already fighting against that.
Yeah,
it'd be the ultimate place for you. Yeah.
So a little bit of fortune there that didn't work out. But then I'm sitting at home, and this is where I got lucky. And they say luck is where preparation meets opportunity. And I think that's a catchy saying, but I think all of us get lucky sometimes. We all get lucky sometimes. We all get unlucky sometimes.
Luck's always there on both sides.
Exactly. That's what drives me crazy when someone's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened to me. That's not fair. I'm so unlucky. It's like, well, it happens to you and it happens to me. Like good luck and bad luck. So I had one of my good luck moments.
Yeah.
My good luck moment, I found this student painting company. I was 20 years old.
Sure.
No idea what I was doing with my life. Needed a job. And I saw, hiring college kids to be painters, just, house painters.
But you were out of college when you decided to do this.
Yeah, I was already out of college. But I was college age. It was summertime.
Yeah. So you go into the college for this college program.
Well, and I think part of me at that time, too, also was like, man, I do have to go finish my college degree.
Okay.
At that time, I was probably torn still. It was really fresh. Now I can say with hindsight, I'm really glad I didn't. But at the time, like right after I left college. But then I found this company, and it turns out they're like the original student painting company.
Okay.
And what they do is they teach young people how to be entrepreneurs. And so I got into their program, and then they recruited me the following season to run my own franchise with them. And that was my my foothold into entrepreneurship and into construction, where I was actually able to find a system that works for me.
Right. Student painters. I've had a few friends participate in student painters, and a couple of them did really well and said the same thing as you. It was like it made them realize what they're capable of doing in business.
Yes, exactly. And for me, it was extra special because I felt like this big failure. But instead, I found this environment where I was given responsibility and influence over my destiny and tools and set free to go do it, and I excelled.
You found a program that finally worked for you.
Yes.
All right. Well, we're going to stop with that because we're going to take a break here. You're listening to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, interviewing Chris Wolf with Pathfinders Acton Academy, and you're here on 1150 AM KKNW.
Children are the greatest joy and our best hope for a better future. Friends, they are the future. But did you know that millions of kids right here in our own backyard are facing hunger every day? Without healthy food, it's harder to grow, to thrive, to feel their best.
The impact when children don't have enough to eat is tremendous because when you're hungry and your basic needs aren't being met, you cannot learn.
Every child deserves to be fed. This is a problem we know how to solve. Food is not just food. It's energy, health, confidence, hope, and even love. Yes, love.
Breakfast in the classroom contributes to kids being more focused, which leads to higher grades, and simply just their well-being.
Thank you!
Learn more about how No Kid Hungry is helping end child hunger in America at helpnokidhungry.org.
Are you ready to discover remarkable stories of resilience and cultural connection? This is Diaspora, a show sharing the journeys of first-generation immigrants from the Indian subcontinent now building their lives in North America. Inspiring, insightful, and always engaging, Diaspora offers a unique perspective on the immigrant experience. Join me, Aditya Mehta, my guests, on the Diaspora Show every Wednesday at 2 p.m. right here on KKNW.
There's a reason they invented the internet. It's called 1150kknw.com.
Welcome back to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, and I'm sitting here with Chris Wolf with Pathfinders Acton Academy and a few various other businesses that he's a part of. But we were just speaking about your painting business. What was the name of the actual business?
It was College Pro Painters.
College Pro Painters. Okay, there's a few college programs out there, but College Pro Painters.
They were the original.
Oh, really?
Everyone else
The
copied
OG.
them. They were, starting in like the late 70s in Canada. They were the original student painting company, and then everyone else was like, hey, that's a great idea. We should copy that.
Oh, well, it was a great idea. So you started there. You felt really connected because you got on this program, and it sounds like it kind of took a ceiling away from you. You could earn probably more than you ever had in your entire life at that point.
Absolutely. Which, I mean, to be fair, at that age was not much, but yes.
Yeah, it felt limitless.
Definitely.
Which sounds like it made you excited.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things that killed me about school growing up. Everyone has a subject that they're good at, right? And I'd be sitting there in whatever class, like let's say math. And in math, in school, right, back in school, taking you back, you spend 3 weeks learning a concept. And there's a quiz at the end of week 1, and there's a quiz at the end of week 2, and there's a test at the end of week 3, and there's homework every
Sure.
right?
And no reward.
and no reward. And then you just start the next one after, right?
Yeah.
So my problem in school would be, I would be like, all right, I got it. I'm ready to go. Let me do the test. Like 2 or 3 days in. But there's still 2.5 weeks of content and homework. And I'm like, I already got it. Why can't I just keep going?
Right.
That's not how school works.
No.
Right. And so one of the amazing things for me about finding a program and like a business internship, like an incubator program, essentially like an entrepreneurship incubator where I'm given the keys to a thing and say, hey, this is your thing. Drive it as fast as you can. If you crash it, it's on you. But if you soar, it's also on you.
Sure.
And so when I was finally put in an environment where I had more influence over the outcome,
Yeah.
it was so refreshing. So I wanted to work so hard
Yeah.
because I was like, I can see the results of what I'm doing. Because when I go do extra lead generation, then I get more appointments, and I do more appointments, and I book more jobs, I make more money.
Yeah.
Because I put in more work. I saw it. It was clear. And that was very motivating for me.
It sounds like I could relate to that too, you know.
Well, it sounds like you had it in 4th grade.
I had it in 4th grade, and I had it again when I got into real estate, and small tastes of it in between. But I think real estate was my first time. I was like, wow, there is actually zero ceiling over my head. It's all up to me.
How did that feel?
It felt amazing. Like I was just like anything was possible, and it just gave me so much energy.
And so for me, it was such a 180 because I wasn't coming from neutral to anything's possible. I was coming from, I'm a huge screw up and my life is ruined and I don't know what I'm going to do.
Right.
From that depth, 180 up to, oh, wow, anything's possible. I have the tools. You know, if I'm willing to learn and make mistakes, I can do this. And so those formative years at College Pro Painters taught me a lot about business and a lot about being an adult and a lot about what hard work actually gets you and what a willingness to be humble and to fail actually gets you, right? And how to actually deal with people.
Did you find that you actually liked people more during that time?
Yeah, I mean, eventually.
Yeah.
I got some feedback early on from one of my first coaches there. It was like, they're college kids, right? So they have to have mentors. And it's a good thing. Even with the mentors, things go off the rails sometimes.
Yeah.
And I thought I was this great leader. And I'm barking at all my guys on the job site. You know, he'd come to watch me and I'm telling these guys, and he pulls me aside and he goes, you know, you're kind of an a-hole. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, you're not being a good leader. You're just an a-hole.
Wow.
And I'm, you know,
Burst your bubble there.
a little bit. So in terms of leadership, I actually had a lot more to learn. But in terms of like, yeah, dealing with people, the sales, you know, connecting with people, what they need. The genius of like a program like that is the skills you learn to run a small student painting company, exact same sales and people skills that you would need to run pretty much any company.
Sure. I can see that.
And so, like, what did you do when you got out of college?
You know, I got into metal fabricating. Then after that, I became a project manager for doing estimating, coordinating, and managing large structural steel jobs.
Nice.
And I found that during that time that I could make a company a lot of money, and without very much incentive, actually. You know, there was a ceiling. Like it didn't matter how much money I brought in to the company, I didn't make much more.
They were only going to give you so much.
Yeah.
Even if you did something that made the company $10 million more in revenue.
Yeah. In fact, if you made them too much money, they might question you. Why did we make so much money?
Which is insane. But yes, I totally know what you mean.
So that kind of, when I started getting questioned, why are we making more money? And the simple answer was like, you know, we won the bid, but there was 3 or 4 other bids against us. So we were not the highest bidder, but we got it. And we were definitely not the lowest bidder.
Well, somewhere along the way, you're like, why am I making all this money for other people?
So somewhere along the way, I was just like, wow, after a few of those moments where they're just questioning you, whether you did really good or you could have done a little bit better, it got draining. And I just had to look at myself in the mirror and ask myself if I was willing to take another risk. And the answer was, yeah, I'm going to take another risk. I gave my 2 weeks resignation and finally listened to a good buddy of mine, Josh. He's like, Chris, I think you'd be really good at real estate. Went and got my real estate license. And next thing I knew, I was just selling real estate. But in between, I had a small construction company.
Oh, you never told me that.
Yeah, small construction company. And I was doing a lot of concrete work, mostly. And I was prospecting the general contractors, the concrete truck drivers. And next thing I know, I'm just like started work, finding properties and selling the homes of these general contractors.
It's the same skills.
Same skills.
That ability to grind, that ability to identify what you need to do and then make a plan to do it.
And
that's
communicate.
Transferable. And communicate, right?
Yeah. Just let people know that they can believe in you and that they have people understand that you can get the job done and do one job, do it well, and then you'll get another one.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a lot of early success in that College Pro Painters program.
Yeah.
I went to corporate even. I was coaching other college-age kids. And then I went back to running my own franchise. I made an absolute killing. And then at some point, right, it's kind of a gut check moment of like, well, you can't run a student painting company forever. You know, I got married, started having kids.
I don't know. Can you not run a student painting company forever?
It felt a little limiting.
Yeah. You were ready for something else.
I was ready for the next thing. And so, but I knew I didn't want to work for other people still because, you know, I really hate being subject to other people's crummy decision making.
Sure.
And I really I told I have to do something. Or like you said, questioned. Hey, I'm trying to do things to make the company money. Why are you holding me back or questioning me?
Yeah.
Why are you trying to stop me from doing this? You know, maybe it's a little different than what you did before, but why can't we do something different and make more money for the company?
Yeah. You want to do things, you were kind of tired of that. Want to do things your own way.
Yeah. And I'd had enough experience over the years of like regular jobs around my business stuff and before and after. And so I was like, I knew I wanted to keep running my own business. I knew I wanted to stay in construction. And one of the cool things that I eventually realized, like we were just talking about, is all the skills are transferable.
Yeah.
So even though I ran a painting business, the sales process, the communication, the organizing, all the people, time and money, making sure the job got done right, you know, paying the guys on time, doing all the stuff, it was all transferable. All I had to do was learn the individual pieces of the different trades. Learn, you know, roofing, what nails do you use? What shingles do we use? Bathrooms, where do we buy the tile? Whatever. Those little technical details.
Sure.
But the big picture stuff was all the same. So then, luckily, construction business has been going for a while. It's doing really great.
Yeah. I heard you've had a record year this year.
Yeah. In fact, we actually hit our sales goal already for 2025.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Still got to produce all the work, right?
Sure.
But yeah, it's a good sign.
Good for you.
Yeah. Love it. And I love construction. And I love running my own business. And you get to a certain point when I feel like when you're really killing it, you've got family going the way you want, and you live in the house you want to live in, and your career is going the way you want, and you're making money, and you have plenty of time for free time and all this stuff. At some point, there's that question of like, what's more? What else is there? Have you ever had that?
Oh yeah. A few times every year. You know, a few times in my life for sure. Like it was that time when I decided to quit that, which was a really great job as a project manager. I was getting paid pretty good, solid, great benefits. And I was like, there's something more out there. And then it's happened again. You know, I was a top salesman for years. And then I was like, there's gotta be something else. So I switched over from sales to owning brokerages. And then after I was owning the brokerages, I've sold a couple, merged one into another company. And I was like, you know, another time came and I was like, I don't want to manage people. I want to go back to sales again. And so
That's fair.
yeah,
I can understand that impulse.
yeah.
Well, and eventually you were like, I'm going to start a podcast.
Eventually, yeah, another time.
You know, my commercial real estate's going great. Everyone knows me as the guy. I'm getting all this work. And you're like, I'm going to start a podcast. What else is there?
Yeah. And, you know, starting a podcast, it's to help myself grow as a public speaker, to connect more with people, and then also get people's stories out there. It's a give back. To me, it's a bit of a give back piece and letting people talk about themselves, and hopefully listeners are able to connect with them.
I love that. So my give back was heavily influenced by this whole education journey I've had.
Yeah.
Right? So I tell my wife, I'm going to go back a little bit. Somewhere along the way, got married to this incredible woman, super sharp, super smart.
You have a good looking family. Yeah. Great kids. You and your wife look great together. You guys have a nice picture on what Pathfinders, what is it?
ActonPathfinders.org.
ActonPathfinders.org.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah, look it up.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. She brings up the average. We can be honest. But
I wasn't going to say that,
But so I told her she had the exact opposite education experience for me, right? She had, you know, a mother who really pushed her. Hey, you know, you have to go to school. You have to get your degree. She ended up getting 2 degrees. She was the first one in her family to go to college and get a degree. She got 2. She played the game. She did everything she was supposed to do. But she still got to that same point of like, this didn't help me. This didn't prepare me. I don't know what I'm doing. Why did I just do all that? Sure. And now I have all the student debt. And so when we got married, we were like, hey, we're not going to do that to our kids. And that's like a really easy thing to say before you have kids.
Really easy, right? You could have these dreams, but in reality.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's nothing to hold you to that yet. It's so in the future. You're like, yeah, you know, later, eventually. So then we get married, and then some time passes, and then we start having the kids, and then there's little babies. It still doesn't matter yet. Then they start to get older, and it's like, oh, Like, we got to do a thing.
Yeah.
We got to do something.
They need to get educated.
They have to get educated somehow. I'm not just going to like leave them in front of YouTube for 18 years and hope it works out. Like, got to do something.
And did you guys start off with homeschool at all, or?
Well, so we looked at all the options, right?
Mhm.
We looked at homeschool. We run the construction business. We've got a couple other things entrepreneurially. It just wasn't the experience we wanted. Nothing against homeschool. What we like about the Acton model, I'm sure we'll get to, is it actually has a really cool, or a lot of similarities, I guess is the best way to put it, to a homeschool model with a bunch of other learners together. We knew we wanted to have the socialization. We knew we wanted something that you could achieve in a classroom with other people around your age.
I think that's really important, the socialization of the children. I mean, the more kids that they're going to be around, and kids and adults, the better off they're going to be in life.
Well, and it's the more like some of those lessons.
Yeah.
Where you learn the lessons from. It's like, hey, no, you can't just take that toy from your friend.
Sure.
That's not how it works.
There's repercussions.
Yeah. Or, you can't just like copy so-and-so's homework. Like, these are like real life lessons that that are harder to learn in homeschool. So nothing against homeschool. We have a lot of people that we know who do homeschool. We appreciate them and love them. Just wasn't for us.
Sure.
And we looked at private schools, right? A lot of private schools, big price tags, fancy catchphrases or promises, but
Yeah. What's the average price for a private school around here?
oh, it's like over $30,000 a year.
Yeah, that adds up.
Yeah. Per kid.
2 kids, 3
Right.
kids, 4
I'm
kids.
sure you get, a little bit off per kid if you do 4 kids. Even 2, even 1 kid seems like a lot, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of the private schools are really expensive versions of the same thing. It's the way better version of classic public school, but it's still a system that's fundamentally focused on telling kids what to do and teaching obedience, right? It's not teaching initiative, not creating places where they can like learn how to take initiative and learn how to attack problems and learn how to solve those problems. So what does that price tag really get you? Better facilities, better teacher-student ratio, really high quality everything, but the system still wasn't really hitting us.
A higher quality of the system that you were accustomed to. Yeah.
That we both already agreed that system didn't work for either of us.
Didn't work for me, that's for sure. Yeah.
And it does work for some people, but the more I get into it, the more people I hear say it didn't work for me.
Or it could have worked better. Yeah.
And then we looked at maybe opening a charter school or something like that. And no, not this, not that. We looked at a few options, the classic alternatives like Montessori and Waldorf, and those were kind of the direction we were going because those were like better than anything else. I have a lot of good things to say about those models. And then one day out of the blue, we discovered Acton Academy by accident.
Yeah, so tell me about that. How'd that get in front of you there?
Another one of those lucky breaks.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Were you on vacation and you found it?
Sort of. Well, yeah. So I was ranting on social media in the ways that people do. Schools, this, that, education, something. And I had a friend who had moved to Oklahoma a while back, a fellow entrepreneur. And she said, hey, have you heard of Acton Academy? My 2 boys go to one out here. And I was like, no, Acton, Action, what? No, Acton, Acton. And I was like, no, I haven't heard of that. And she goes, well, you should check it out. So I look it up, and I'm like, oh. It was one of those moments.
And
Yeah, like, oh, this exists. There's a place where they put learners together, multi-age. They set boundaries and parameters, but they give the learners space to like make choices and to accomplish things. And a lot of the core skill work is like individual paced.
Sure.
So if you're good at math and you want to keep going, you just keep going. Like that 4th grade teacher you were talking about.
Yeah.
He let you go all the way up to 11th grade.
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah.
So imagine if like all your core skill work all the time, you could go at your own pace. Maybe you need more time. Maybe you're really struggling with something or you're not that motivated and you need extra time on something.
A little slower starter.
Either which way, whether it's more or less. Most people don't fit on the exact specific progression of do this. For some people, it's slower.
Sure.
And so we're just like getting more and more into this model and we're like, holy cow, gee willikers, Batman. Like, this is what we've been waiting for. And we're so excited. Like, yes, we're going to do this. This is great. And then we go up actonacademy.org, / school finder, whatever. The nearest Acton Academy at the time was 2 hours away in Anacortes.
Okay.
So then it was a real gut check moment of like, how bad do you want it?
So you're thinking about driving Anacortes all the time or moving?
No, that's out of the question.
Okay.
But there's a button that says, apply to open an Acton Academy. And me, the entrepreneur in me goes, I think we can do this.
Yeah. That's a big move.
Right.
It's a bold move.
Well, again, it was, how bad do you want it? We weren't going to move to Anacortes We weren't going to drive 2 hours each way every day. But we really, really, really wanted to have Acton Academy for our kids. We wanted them to have it.
I mean, there's probably not many more things that are more motivating than your own kids.
Yeah, on their own timeline.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've been listening to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, sitting here with Chris Wolf on 1150 AM KKNW. Tune back in here shortly after these messages.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
yeah,
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Chris Erdmann. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I sit down with inspiring entrepreneurs, creative minds, and game changers to uncover the real stories behind their business. On my show, Made of More, we explore the challenges that they've overcome, the breakthroughs that they've celebrated, and the mindset that drives them forward. If you're ready to unlock your full entrepreneurial potential, Made of More is the show for you, because here we know you are made of more. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW.
Alternative Talk 1150. Online at 1150kknw.com.
Welcome back to the show Made of More. I'm Chris Erdmann, your host, sitting here with Chris Wolf. And today we're talking about Pathfinders Acton Academy. We're just, where do we leave it off at here? You're pressing the button on the website of Acton Academy, thinking like, we're going to open up a school.
Or we're going to try.
We're going to try. You're going to open it. That's for sure.
Well, and it's such a unique thing, right?
Yeah.
Who opens a school? Who does that? But luckily, I had all these experiences prior of doing things differently. You know, Robert Frost, for I took the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
Yeah, love that quote.
Yeah. Well, it definitely applies to my story, right? And so, because I had all these times of doing things differently and going my own way and then getting into business and starting businesses, I was like, babe, I think we can do this. And she'd been with me for a while on the journey at this point. She was like, yeah, I think we can. So we apply and we go through, and then we initial application, and then we're off in Hawaii. This was not planned. Like, this was off season, chill time. We're in Hawaii. We get notified. Yep. You're moving through the process, do XYZ additional steps. We're like sitting in our car, in a parking lot in Hawaii on vacation, trying to like record these videos and do this final steps of the application. And we get approved really quickly. And that starts this whole journey. And then, so we're in. And the interesting thing about Acton, it's very similar to how the learners experience it. You're given the tool and you're given the directions, but there's no one sitting there like making you do it or telling you, hey, do this next, do this, do this. Yeah. It's like, here's a school in a box. Here's what we all do. Here's our connection to all the other owners. If you have questions, take the box, empty out the things, and go make a school.
Your own little school kit. Yeah.
And so it's been a couple years now. It took us a year.
You're in your third year.
Yeah, so we're going into our third school year.
Okay.
Took us a couple of years of paperwork and finding location and hiring a guide and doing all that. And then we've had 2 full school years, and now we're going into our third.
Your third. Some things that I really researching a bit about your school, something I really like, you like to hold smaller classrooms. And it's like you have more, kind of the ratio, probably more staff compared to students in a lot of other schools. And so these kids are getting a lot more attention.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, and the cool thing about multi-age is, so not only do you have small classroom sizes with a guide who's there to equip and inspire, but they also, the way the multi-age model works really well, mm-hmm. and some school systems, some types of school systems do this, but most don't, is the older and the learner and the younger really bounce off each other really well, even in like 2 and 3 year gaps. So like our Spark Studio is our entry level. They're 5 years old to 8 years old.
Okay.
Even like the 5 and 7-year-old or 5 and 8-year-olds, the way they interact with each other is so good for them.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that, because, you don't get a whole lot of that in public school.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even really realize it was a thing, because I grew up going to public school and this is how school looked. I didn't even know you could do it that way.
Yeah.
But if
you're
think
in third grade, you're with the third graders. You're in fourth grade, you're with the fourth graders.
And that's how it goes until recess or whatever.
And if you see an older grade, you're kind of scared of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you wouldn't be asking them for help on your math homework.
Yeah. Which
right?
seems kind of unhealthy as I'm talking about it.
It's like a forced delineation that doesn't need to be, especially because within 2 and 3 and 4 year age periods, they're very similar, right? Like a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old got a lot of similarities still. Not every 5-year-old, not every 7-year-old, but on average.
Sure.
And so I got off topic. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What I think, like being with having the integration of different ages just seems like it could be really healthy for later on in life. So these kids are not afraid to interact with different ranks. They're not, whether they're people are ranking different age, different, just those differences. It seems like the collaboration.
It builds confidence for sure.
Builds confidence.
Like interpersonal confidence.
On many different levels.
It dials things in. And also it's easier, I think, to hear from your peers, Like what we notice watching the younger learners teaching each other to read, like the mistakes they make in front of each other and the feedback that they give to each other just lands a lot different than when it's an adult.
It's more forgiving.
Yeah.
Do you see them laughing more? Is it more fun than?
I don't know if it's more fun, but it's certainly more effective, which I guess makes it more fun, right?
Yeah.
Like they listen to each other better than they listen to other adults. Not that the adults don't do anything, right? Adults have an important role, but it's not just a small class size, as it's a small class size paired with a bunch of people who are working together on things and taking care of each other. And, even in a small classroom, you're going to have different learners with different strengths. Like regardless of the ages, right? If you have 6 or 8 or 10 learners in a room, some of them are going to be good at math or better at math, and some of them are going to be better at reading, and some of them are going to be better at, solving problems, right? And so it's not just the age, but it's also the skill levels that they work together.
That's really interesting. Tell me a little bit about, what does the classroom setting look like?
So first off, no desks.
No desks.
No desks. We have tables that we can pull out for science projects, things like that. No desks. We gather every morning.
Why no desks? There's got to be a reason.
Yeah, well, the whole point is for you to be doing engaging work.
Okay.
And to have freedom to do it, during the correct periods. We have different periods of the day. We have core skills time, or we have, group project time. But within that, you have to have or you don't have to, but we believe that learners should be given the choice. Are you more comfortable on the chair? Are you more comfortable on the carpet over here? Where do you need to be in your zone? Which is how real life works. That's not how school works.
That's true.
In real life, my office at my house probably looks a lot different than yours.
Probably a little bit different.
Right? There's probably some similarities, but like your ideal workspace is different than my ideal workspace. Right?
That's for sure. Everybody is more comfortable in their own type of setting, right?
Absolutely. And so that's part of it. Like, why do we have to control them and say, hey, you have to sit at this desk? Because what's important is that they're doing good work that they're focused on. That's what's important. It doesn't matter if they're sitting on the floor, laying on their belly, with their feet kicking out, or if they're sitting at a table, or they're sitting in a chair, whatever it is. If they're focused and doing work that matters to them.
You're giving them choice, because they can be at something like a desk. It's going to be a table, or they have that freedom.
Which is how real life works. We don't sit here and tell everybody, if you're working from home, your boss doesn't tell you, you have to sit here at this desk doing this at this time.
Yeah, you might be at the coffee table. You might be at your desk. You might be on your couch, or the dinner table.
So that's like a really, really, really microscopic example, but it gets, I think, a lot of the point across.
Yeah. Even, in fact, some people I do my calls on going on walks now, and I'm not even in the office. Yeah.
Exactly. So if you're working on a hard problem and you want to walk and talk to some other person and just walk around a little, or walk to the other side of the room and stare out the window and talk to each other about this problem you're working on, that's normal. That's natural human behavior. And so the challenge that Acton really successfully meets is, how do we create a centralized school space with a rigid enough structure that everybody can learn individually and get what they need?
That's great.
And that's what's cool about it. It's almost like an old school, one-room schoolhouse. Or like if you think like 10,000 years ago, we're in a village. We got 100 people in the village, and there's 17 kids, and they're whatever ages. And there's like 2 adults and a couple of the older kids that are assigned to watch the 17 kids.
Yeah.
and those kids are different ages, but they go through some things together and some things not, or some things more advanced, some things not.
I could see like the students of Acton Academy, Pathfinders Acton Academy, probably be better teammates because they're so used to working together and maneuvering in and out of these, sounds like little workstations sometimes, and to solo, to group, and teaching each other. It seems like you're grooming people to be even more effective.
Well, yeah, I mean, Acton Academy creates a space where learners can learn how to learn and how to be.
Yeah.
Which is what we need to know. There was a time when memorizing information was really important. That time has passed. You have to know certain things, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, all the education, or everything's out there. If you know how to research, you can find anything now.
Exactly. There's some basic things, like you need to know northeast, south, and west. You need to know the continent. Like, we can argue about what the need to knows are. But at the end of the day, what children who are being prepared to be adults in the near and medium future need is these soft skills to flourish in that world, whatever that looks like, whether AI has taken over or it hasn't, or whether jobs have changed into some other category that we don't even know now because of AI or not, or climate change or whatever. Like, the economy and the way the world works, our children have all of the information of human history at their fingertips.
You're right. You know, I'm curious, what kind of moments, looking back over the last 2-3 years, what are some big breakthrough moments where you've witnessed these kids doing something that you're like, wow, this is great. This is exactly what we signed up for?
Well, watching 5-year-olds teach each other how to read with zero adult input is one of the big ones for me.
That's wild.
Like, one of them gets it, turns around, teaches the next one, and those two go and teach the next two. I mean, it's just like wildfire. Like, the way that humans, like, seeing how much humans want to learn, because it's hardwired into us. That's how we survive. We watch around us. We have to learn how to live so that we can survive and go do things, right? And watching, like, the natural desire that humans have to learn and how it can spread when we let it spread versus try to control it has been like a huge moment for me. I mean, in terms of specific moments, I would say our children's business fair was really big.
Yeah, tell me about that.
You and I have talked a little bit offline, but
let's tell them what the business fair is. You have another one coming up, don't you?
We will this year, this school year, for sure. We're going to do at least one a year. But one of our session themes is entrepreneurship that we did. I think we'll probably do it again this year. And as part of the entrepreneurship session, each learner created a product and made a booth. And then we invited a bunch of learners around the community as well. And we ended up having 20 booths at this children's business fair in Sammamish, where all the learners actually created, procured, brought together, made products, whether it was delicious goods or something artistic. Someone did some 3D printing things, like all sorts of stuff that they actually sold for real money at this business fair. And all of them made excellent money.
That's great.
Like, the average profit was like $80 to $100 plus.
That's phenomenal.
It was insane. And we're talking like as young as 5, 6, 7-year-olds up to 11, 12.
Well, that's got to be so inspiring to those young kids. And they probably don't even know what's happening.
Well, it's just normal to them.
Yeah.
That's what's amazing to me about it is, for them, the ones who have been in the system already, they're just like, yeah, this is what education is. You know, I'm like, yes, please. This is what I want you to believe, that you're empowered, that you are believed in, that you're encouraged to be challenged, and it's okay to fail. You know?
And it's okay to succeed.
Yeah. And you can keep succeeding. And I wouldn't do it any other way.
You know, some of the most influential entrepreneurs that I know these days have a similar story about their childhood where somebody taught them and invested in some time into them, show them how to run a small business. And I just got to say, it's going to be interesting hearing stories about these kids 10, 20 years down the road with you and like what some of these kids have done and become.
Well, the cool thing is Acton Academy is already a proven system.
Yeah.
It's been around for almost 20 years. There's been a number of graduating classes. And these young adults that are graduating at 18 years old are getting into all their colleges that they want to get into. They're getting internships directly with huge companies. They're traveling the world. It's like almost like a different species when you compare to like the limp noodles, I call them, that are coming out of high school and college. And there's like, I don't know. Right? Like, these are young people who are driven and who have like clear focus on where they want to go and how they're going to get there. And they know that there's going to be bumps along the way, and they've experienced bumps, and they've overcome bumps, and they've accepted that, and they will be prepared to overcome future bumps so that they can hit those goals that they want to get to.
Yeah, it sounds like these kids are being listened to a lot more in your program, and being listened to has a big difference with all of us, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things I've learned, one of my aha moments, is that adults underestimate children.
That's for sure.
And it comes from a place of protection. We want to protect them. We want to make sure they're safe. We think they don't know any better. They can't handle XYZ yet. But actually, they usually can. Especially if you create an environment that's a safe place for them to learn it and experience it and fail with it, grow, and then be ready to move on.
Yeah, thank you for sharing all that. What's the best place for everybody to look your business up?
So we just launched our revamped website. So www.actonpathfinders.org, Acton, A-C-T-O-N, pathfinders.org. There's a couple different buttons there, different resources you can start with. If you want to come, we're going to have an open house on Saturday, August 23rd at 10 a.m. There's a parent shopping guide that you can use, that you can download separately. There's a couple different resources on the website. I would start there. That helps a lot of people kind of start their journey. Usually when you hear about something like this, it's not like you're going to hear about it and you're like, oh, I'm going to enroll tomorrow. It's like, okay. I also care about my children. I'm going to research. I'm going to look into this. What do they stand for? How does it work? So the website's a great intro spot for people who are intrigued and want to hear more about it.
That's great. It seems like, so you also probably have room for about 5 or 6 more kids?
Yeah, I mean, we're coming up on the new school year, but we do have some open availability. So this year we're really excited. We're launching our Explorer Studio, which is the next age group up. So that'll be about 8 to 12, 8 to 11, 8 to 12.
Okay.
So we'll be serving learners 5 to 12 in the 25-26 school year. And then eventually Acton does go all the way through high school. So as our school gets more established and our core group ages up, then we'll be going all the way through high school.
It's going to be fun to watch you guys grow, and I look forward to hearing stories every month about what's happening.
Thank you. This has been awesome. Did you have any other questions about the school or any other thoughts you want to impart about education?
Things that I want to impart about, I just want to say, if I had the opportunity when my daughter was growing up, I would have definitely wanted to explore this school. Just seeing and hearing what your kids are able to experience, and then looking back at the experience that I had and even what my daughter had through school. I think she had a great time, but there's been times where it could have just been a little bit more engaging and where they could have looked into her interests a lot more.
And empowered her more and seen where it gone, right? Let's just see where this goes. You're interested in this. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah. There are a lot of the kids that become really successful, even really young, like these black belts or these athletes. It's like they've had these parents that witness their gifts, and not only do they acknowledge these gifts, but they actually had the ability to invest in these gifts. And it sounds like Acton Academy is doing something very similar to that.
I think that's a great way to put it. I'm going to steal that from you moving forward.
Sure.
But yeah, sending your kid to an Acton Academy is a great way to invest in their gifts.
Yeah. Investing in your kid, invest in their gifts.
I love that.
Invest with Acton Academy.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show today. I know you took time out of your busy schedule to make time for this. I know you could have been doing a lot of other things today.
Oh yeah, it is construction season, but nothing's more important than the future.
Yeah.
Can I close with a quote?
Yes, please.
That really summarizes how I feel about this. A wise man once said, if your plan is for 1 year, plant rice. If your plan is for 10 years, plant trees. If your plan is for 100 years, educate the children.
That's wonderful. Whose quote is that?
I wish I knew.
Unknown at this time.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening to the show, Made of More. You're sitting here with myself, Chris Erdmann, and Chris Wolf. Acton Academy, Pathfinders Acton Academy.
Yep.
And do you want to leave your number or anything for people to get hold of you directly?
Sure. Absolutely. If you've listened all the way through the podcast and you're fascinated and you want to chat more, you can reach me on our office line at 425-520-5565. I would love to chat.
All right. Thanks for tuning in.
Ooh.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Made of More on KKNW. Whether you're on the road, at the office, or listening from home, keep chasing what lights you up, keep building what matters, and never settle for less than the life you were made for. You are made of more. More purpose, more impact, more joy. Made of More is part of the Speaking Current network of shows and podcasts, all of which that are dedicated to inspiring listeners to build lives of meaning, connection, and value. You can find the Speaking Current network of shows, including Made of More, wherever you get your podcast. You can also find us on YouTube. Until next Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I'm Chris Erdmann. Stay bold, stay inspired, and stay made of more.